everyone, Fangs of Fire here, and welcome to another New Blood Tournament match. Today we're going to be watching DonOJack as the hunters, hunting Osey, who will be playing Dracula. So I haven't seen much of DonOJack, but I've seen several of Osey's games. From what I have seen, both are definitely respectable players, and therefore, this ought to be a good show. I'd say interesting setup. Mina and Goldaming in Paris with Seward in Vienna. Interesting. So that makes the East. If I had to make a shot now, I would say that the East looks attractive. I mean, Italy to a certain amount as well. Although not as much, because now there are now, in a way, 3 hunters covering Dracula's most obvious escape route, which is to go west, down to Spain. Or to the north. It makes it, since they're in Paris, not like down Madrid or not even at Bordeaux, it makes Italy less attractive for the aftermath of it. So it's interesting for sure. And as I hope that my audio levels are set correctly. This is my first time trying this. Oh, Scout State 1. But my apologies if this is a suboptimal recording, but I shall do my best. So we have a Scouts Day 1 on Van Helsing. Let's see what happens. Neither Lisbon nor Athens. Okay. I'm not sure about scouting Athens, because when people start they tend to start in Valona rather than Athens, so that they can go Athens, misdirect to Valona, and then go back up to Valona. So I think that was... Oh, Harker. Well, that's interesting. So I think that the search of Athens was a little bit premature, or just a little bit off. Not sure what the exact... Oh, use Harker to search. That's a bit unusual. Mina using a stake. That seems to indicate that he would have a surprising return, because presumably, of all the 3 allies, Harker is the one that's best in the early game. Seeing as, for those who don't know, Harker's ability is that whenever a location card moves onto the last space of the trail, it gets flipped. So even if it's a vampire return, you do have 1 day's worth where you know where it is. And then this can be especially useful in Central Europe, since it's just a veritable maze of connections, and it is difficult to tell exactly where Dracula goes next after practically any spot in this mid-section. It's not easy. It's definitely not easy, and Harker can be extremely useful in those situations. But the fact that he chose not to do that is definitely interesting to me. I mean, if he has a surprising return, I can definitely understand that. But, I will see. But then again, simply searching is never that bad. Although it definitely would have been better after a couple more locations were down. As at this point, of course right now, there's only the 1 spot that would get him a positive result. Let's see. Any Dawn prompts? No, so he does not have a surprising return. At least not yet. Okay. let's see. Let's see what happens. Alright. Just standard supply stuff. Which is, of course, perfectly normal. Against this setup, as Dracula, there would be a couple of interesting options. The obvious one is to go for the east, and the next obvious option is Spain, but DonOJack already did. I know that is the case. Already poked a bit at both said areas, but that was only for the starting location. So he could still easily be there. Be in those areas, at least. It's hard to say. As for everywhere else, like when it's the consort setup, the other typical spots are like Amsterdam and Amsterdam, Bari, and those areas, basically northern Germany and Italy. But in this case, at least the former of those, northern Germany, is definitely not all that attractive. Then it's definitely not all that attractive. And as for Italy, well, I suppose it's more or less the same as always, in that sense. I not quite, of course, but I mean, if he doesn't get discovered down there, then it'll be just fine. But if he does, then he could find himself in quite a pinch, and may have to go for an early sea voyage. So far nothing of interest, although the discards are about to start, and well, we may basically, yeah. Now the question will be: is there going to be any stakes? Anything? Are there going to be any interesting discards? I mean, that is Gul'dan's charm, after all. Alright. Third. Just applying paranormal. 4 Dracula just things into the discard already. So, if that's the first thing's a hoax, and it doesn't get found, that could be, I mean, it's already looking attractive. And, well, it's highly likely that there will be more Drac events to join them in there. Okay, once he... Let's see what the discards are. As soon as we... Okay, nothing all that remarkable. Holy bullets, dogs, and garlic. Once again, not all that remarkable. Because of those 3 things, really only the garlic is something that I might consider keeping over some things. But considering that was one of the things Gul'dan discarded, I mean, it's not unlikely that he has something like, say, steak, horse, and knife already, and he's only supplying for the sake of trying to find a event such as like newspaper and such, newspaper scouts. By the way, me is showing a steak and a charred carriage, and the steak was showing several days ago, but it only I think today, got to the charred carriage. Interesting. So that's definitely nice for Dracula to know about, because if he did go for an Italy sword, it me can now go all the way to Florence in one jump, or all the way to Venice, or even if she wanted to, and he's found in the east, she could jump all the way to Prague. So yeah, Paris is a very powerful spot for a chartered carriage. She can jump all the way down to Lisbon if she needs to, Santander, Alicante. And Alicante she could do is simply a 3-2, I think. Let me see. Is that? No, that's not a rail connection between the two. So yeah, she can get to Alicante. She can get to literally anywhere in Spain that has a rail connection. So, and then as far as Florence and Vienna and Venice for the for Italy, and then all the way up to Prague if she wants. Okay, so this is please draw a newspaper day, especially with that rumor token, as that of course indicates that it is likely a vampire that we are dealing with first. This is going to be interesting. Will they draw the newspaper? I mean, there's one drac event on top that says no, that one will not be in newspaper reports. I mean, obviously. But what will the other ones be? That is the question. Okay, a couple pistols discarded by Guldaman. Again, not all that remarkable. Okay. Oh, okay, scouts. This is a reasonable time for it. Yeah, you want them later than simply day one, but not too late. That's neither Naples or Marseille. Okay. I can definitely see why you would check Naples, as that's, although, well, I mean, there are arguments for a lot of different things. Marseille, however, you can check that with a simple scan. So I'm not sure I fully agree with checking that. I mean, even though it is a major crossroads. Oh, interesting. Sister Agatha. Well, now, okay, choosing the search function. Yeah, since he's simply looking for information at present. Oh, hello. Well, hi there, Jack. So was the East. So if I had to guess, that means that he was sitting at Valona on day one, and that the rumor took him to Athens, and that he backtracked to Valona via the misdirect, and has just now gone to Sophia. If I had to guess. I mean, that's the most obvious thing. Either that, or more or less the same thing with Galatz, Bucharest, Sophia. I don't know. We'll see. This will be interesting. So the question is, how ready is DonOJack? How ready are the hunters to act? Okay. Had a 3-2 on her. Interesting. So now I know at least the general area where that rumor token is hiding. But it will be... Yeah, the real question now is how prepared are the hunters? Mystic Research. Interesting. 4 Drac events. Oh boy. I mean, if in the event that that's a bluff, with the rumor token that's a hoax, I mean, Dracula's gonna be licking his lips. False tip, roadblock, nocturnal visits. Ooh, interesting. And summon storms. I mean, all of those have their can definitely have their moments where they're really nice. I mean, I myself pulled off quite a shenanigan back in the Fall League with Nocturnal Visit, and likewise Met King with Roadblock. We're yet to see Summon Storms and False Tip do anything spectacular, so far as I know, in the community. At least among the community. I haven't seen, so far as I know, and if Scott Swords ends up joining me later, or perhaps he may be able to correct me, but Nocturnal Visit is definitely one of the funner ones, seeing as Storm's Roadblock and False Tip are a little simple, in so to speak. Their functions are simple. They simply block certain forms of movement. One the seas, one by road, one by train. Whereas Nocturnal Visits, you have to, as Dracula, you have to engineer the situation for it to be good. Which, it definitely can be fun to do just that. Or at least try to. It can be difficult, but... Oh, whoa, goodness. I'm just discarding a knife and a rifle. I mean, the rifle, that's not as remarkable since that's the first rifle, but a knife? Now that's interesting. That's definitely sus. That would seem to indicate that Gul'dan just had to make an awkward choice, that he's already holding a knife slash heavenly host, and also horses and such. I'm guessing that Gul'dan is going to be moving primarily by horse to try to get horse over to Seward. And that's only a guess, but well, sometimes you just gotta do guesswork. So it's interesting that Van Helsing chose not to get the charred carriage off Mina, because all he would have, because with a charred carriage, Seward would be able to get all the way to Galatz, or down to Sofia, basically, or simply go to Bucharest, try to figure out which way did Dracula come from to get to Sofia. I think that it would definitely be worth it to try that. It would, but, well, I mean, who knows? Maybe he has other means of doing that sort of thing. I mean, it's possible that he wants me to use said charred carriage to get down to either meet with him in Budapest, so that he can possibly scan tonight to see if he went from Sofia to Belgrade or Sarajevo. Okay, apparently not. Or he could have used the charred carriage to get as far as Sajed. Or 53. Alright. Trying to fix up the either horse or train economy. Oh, interesting. Wax cylinders. Okay, testing whether he hit at the rumor token. Answer to that, no. Those are 2 separate spots before Sofia. having wax cylinders early is interesting because it can often discourage Drac from trying anything fun, trying to do hide, so long as he knows that Seward has the wax cylinders. It's definitely a very interesting. It's definitely a very interesting item, or event more accurately. But when you, but it's interest. It definitely is interesting considering that at the name of that the event is named Wax Cylinders. Went to the sea. So in that case, he went from Sophia to Varna. That's very interesting. I think that in my opinion, that was a bit premature. Okay. As I suspected, it was Athens. So he went Athens. So he went to Valona at the beginning, went to Athens, misdirected Valona, went back, then to Sophia, and then Bucharest. That's what the Scott Sword's about. I'll see if he will join me. Wait, one mo. Seward did a char carriage. Interesting. So he has a second one. That will take him as far as Salonika. Or if he wants to try to jump on Dracula now and do a 1v1, which is, unless he has something like a heroic leap, then doing a 1v1 would not be advisable. Sorry, let's... Okay. Daytime trade. I'm not sure how I feel about that. I think it may be time to start getting Van Helsing ready to leave the UK. Now the question is, will he use Mia's charter carriage as well? He could get as far as Belgrade. Okay, horse. First horse reveal. Very interesting, to be sure. So, Dracula is currently in the Black Sea. There's a hired scouts that found him when he was at Sophia. Or wait, Salonika? Oh, so actually not Black Sea, but Ionian. My error, sorry. Greetings, Scotsword. Welcome. I hope that my audio levels are correct. You sound alright. Let me check the things. See how much. Mind talking a bit so I can see how much it's picking up. Okay. Yes. I'm not sure how I feel about Van Helsing's daytime trade either. And the fact that he hasn't moved from the UK at all. He actually started up at Liverpool. Okay. So what you missed from not being here at first, they both Olkeldami and Mina started in Paris with Seward at Vienna. Very intriguing. Very intriguing, and yet I actually see quite a bit of merits to that. Uh, but it the trail was finally discovered in it on was discovered on day 4, I believe. Basically, he was actually at Sofia when that was flipped over. Uh, so that'd be day 4 if I'm not mistaken. So yes, yeah. So that would, and then there was a mystic research from Van Helsing, which discarded false tip, roadblocks, summonstorms, and nocturnal visits. Uh, I mean, well, yes and no. Yeah, yes, that's what I'm thinking. Possibly as more than one. After all, we're talking about Seward. So not so far as I've seen. He got to Sofia. He got down there first by foot to Budapest and then a chartered carriage down to Salonika. Which, speaking of which, so far as the other stake, Mina is showing one along with a second chartered carriage. Uh, so I am definitely finding this a bit odd, but that apparently not though. So that's bad news for the hunters. But on the other hand, I think that Drax going to sea like that was a little bit premature. I would have gone up to Varna and then Constanta. Basically, I would have done Black Sea coast uh, to lay down a bit more trail. I mean it's possible that that's just me, but well, yes. Which yeah, which on that note, speaking of Rufus, we've actually had both Harker and Sister Aggie go by with using as searches. I was a bit shocked since Harker came first. He even before he moved to Sophia, and he didn't take him as an ally. I mean, it's turned out just fine for him, so far as that goes. But uh, yeah. I mean, at the time, I suppose I didn't know about the newspaper report, since that was day 3, back before there was even something that a newspaper would reveal. Uh, but now, yeah, now that you point that out, in retrospect, does make sense. So yeah, why on earth did he search Valona when presumably Athens is a vampire that's about to give him 6-7 points? Yeah, yeah, this is definitely a bit. So for when you watch this, assuming that it is decent quality, you, uh, you you may want to keep in mind to do the vampires in the correct order. Uh, yeah, it's yeah, which in the events it's a hoax instead, and that's simply a bluff to try to make them come in too soon. because I have seen people do that, then even a host would be rather bad now, especially after that not mystic research. There are 9 things waiting for him there. Admittedly, we know what 4 of them are, but nope, aristocratic. So that's 7 points already. However, much was the case. You recall back when I was draft for JB Philly. OC is now facing the same problem I did. When you wipe your entire trail and all that's left is sea, now the hunters are free to do whatever they feel like, and the horse economy seems to be holding up quite nicely. So, yeah, yeah, yes. Admittedly, there are decent distance from Spain, which presumably is where he's going to land. Uh, but yes, he's definitely victory is far from assured for Drac. I've said this before, so this is kind of an encore. Or sorry if it's getting repetitive, but I've seen more often than not, in my opinion, it's when the first vampire matures that the hunters win more frequently than not. Uh, because of this very sort of thing. I because as you yes, it makes it so that even if DonOJack does win, it won't be like a massive 30 IDS point swing. Sure, it will be a win, but if you're concerned IDS wise, like me being the competitive type I am, I like to try to get as much of an IDS win as I can. Yeah. Yes. Yeah, so it's better to practice for it, which yeah. You were saying? Yeah, I think, yeah, I, I think Goldami has also shown a horse. Yeah, he just did now. Uh, he horsed and drew a 1. Not white one, mind you. But, yeah, so it would appear that OC has the, I mean, Met King told me uh, when we commentated OC versus TG, when, that, you doubtless know what I'm referring to, but it, perhaps not, but he told me that Ozzy being one of his friends meant that horse economy was something that he really drilled into him with a full screwdriver. If you will pardon me being a little bit funny there. Indeed, he's been advised by yep. Yeah, he's been advised by one of those who reached the finals in the fall league and has one of those 6 as his personal friend. So, one he knows in everyday life. So, Okay. Ooh, so, not the best. Yes, it takes time. Which and this is only the very beginning, only one day into week 2, so he has plenty of time to arrange that. Oh, there's the third charred carriage. The last one is unless I miss Mia, trading it via Van Helsing, then that's the third out of all of them. Ooh, oh dear. Yep, that will make things tougher for the hunters. I mean, speaking of coaching, in last night's exhausting game between Five Hit and Snuff, I mean Five Hit has been getting a good deal better since I last watched. He he made it close. Uh, I mean close in the sense that he actually got his hunters into place, even though one of the most remarkable things, as you'll see in JB's part of the uh, recording of the first half or so of the game, and was that there it one very early in the first week, Goldaming discarded 2 horses, just threw them away. That was the blunder that's well, sorry to sound harsh, but the blunder that cost Five Hit the game, in my opinion. Yes, which yes, although when I was coaching him, I did like em- emphasize the importance of the horses myself. So, hmm. With that wet one there, this early, since it's okay, unless you just found that, yeah, I wouldn't be using them quite yet if they don't have all the white ones yet. Or as yes, okay, all right, yeah, Granada, Saragossa. Well, it can't. Well, yeah, it would have to be specifically Saragossa Santander, but it can't wolf one there. At least not. Yeah, gotcha. Yeah, you can go practically any direction. You can go in practically any direction. For that matter, he could have until now probably knew gone back to Venice, hid there, and then be ready to go back to Adriatic. Yeah, yeah. I was unfortunately unable to watch that game, seeing as I well as you know, Five Hit and Snuff took 4.5 hours to clear their game, and then I gave them a bit of advice post game, uh, which yeah, both have improved significantly during the course of this, and I would while I haven't been following these two all that closely, I can tell from the way you've been talking that they have also been getting that they're also learning their lessons. Oh yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Yeah, but then the stakes will be much higher. Yeah, so will that extra like stress uh I mean it won't be as big a deal for me since I have competed in two previous tournaments, but I mean likewise quite possibly likewise for Wormtown and Strider. Uh I mean yeah, Burkmall as well, which yeah. I do feel real sorry for Geo because he got uh, in my opinion kind of thrown under the bus being saddled with me. Oh, hello. Uh, uh well he got saddled with me and Burkmall Altaris and then last minute Burkmolly. That's a tall order. I mentioned to you how he had one in the bag had he simply gone to sea, but he apparently wanted to finish it in style and he lost the game because of it. He's going to be a very good Drac, and he would have evaded me had I not had my CG and he had my CG. So yeah, Gio's good. He was in Zurich at the time, if I recall correctly, or no, he was in Marseille. Having come from Zurich, so it's possible that he went up Milan, Zurich, yes. No, Seward came from there. Yeah, yeah. Uh, yeah. We saw. Yes, especially because he also already showed those earlier. So yeah, that's not new. Yeah, Drac knew about that. So especially since that's one of the insta kill spots. I and I mean whether Osey would know about that, I don't know, but very true. Oh, neato. Oh, but they took away her excellent weather. I do question the wisdom of that, but okay. Because now she's no longer threatening to just speed along to the Valona. I mean, I suppose in a way she is because Van Helsing comes first and can trade it by day if necessary. So, yeah. Yeah. But the thing is, we still don't know whether it's the boot or Milan, Zurich, as no one's yet gone to Milan. So this, yeah, I'm just pointing out that they could end up wasting time doing that. Hmm. Possibly excellent weathering, excellent weather to Tyrrhenian to try to have them help with Italy. I think that is. I tend to agree. So long as he has that last white one. So long as he has all the white ones, I would definitely agree. Oh yeah. You. Oh, but by the way, you reminded me about a detail earlier. Not long before Dracula's shell was revealed, Gladami ended up discarding a knife to give you an idea of what his hand is likely like. So, I yeah, not all a bad idea. And yeah, and was that a horse that Seward just used? Okay, so that's horse number 3 located. Sadly, they'll have to go through the entire deck to fetch the third one back. But even with 2, horses are worth going for. Yeah, I mean, so if there's any hunter that can manage it, then that would be Seward. As for the vampire, you'll want to get a clause in to knock off the garlic wreath. Oh, speaking of garlic, okay, so one of his 2 is garlic. Ideally he gets a claw in to knock off the garlic wreath, and then gets a point via fangs. Either that or it's simple survival. Just doing strengths and mesmerizes until it can escape, perhaps. Very true. Uh, although, that being said, since he just played it now, I at least would be tempted to try a claw to try to swipe off the wreath. Perfectly reasonable. Dodge. Okay, so yeah, which uh, at this stage I would assume a heavenly host. Uh, since there are none in the discard yet, I mean Seward in particular. It's just makes sense. Although there is the danger then if it's not a knife or a rifle, or or just a that it's quite possible that he's going around without a conventional weapon. Mesmerized? Do he punch? Oh, called it. Well done. Nicely done, DonOJack. Yeah. Considering that he knows that he has a garlic to play, I would try to escape. Preferably as mist. Or what I would do actually is I would do a mesmerize next. Because unless there's a hidden crucifix, then since he just played punch, that's unless he wants to use a heavenly host on a vampire. Yeah, yeah, but do that to play it. Doing that to play around it. Yeah, doing that to play around a knife, seeing as he's still due to the punch, he now is in knife range or was. Now that he's mesmerized, even if he has a knife, that won't be enough. So yeah, I think that. Yes. Yeah. That that is my guess. Seeing the pattern of play, it's quite possible that Seward may need to stop at Rome for a bit. Oh. Oh. Nope. Nice. And that was actually rather bold, considering that both mesmerizes had been played. That was quite a call. Yeah. would make the garlic wreath explode. Yeah. True. Up. Yeah. Yeah, he loses the garlic wreath, but I mean, does a hunter really care about that? Yeah. Yep. So nice. Yeah, he kind of walked into that. So, Seward. Hmm? Yeah. But it is noteworthy though. It it is noteworthy though that Seward didn't end up clearing Genoa. Yeah. As Yeah, I suppose they did definitely need to establish which way he was going. So that's it. Yeah. Then that. Not necessarily, as I mean, he can obviously hide if that's the case, and then protect himself by two things, one of which could easily be a fog. Uh, and then precisely, yeah. Hmm. Yeah, unless he had both. This is gonna be interesting. Yeah. Although if he does do that and he does get away with a Naples, then he will have to put on something of that was the excellent weather trade. That, mind you, under current circumstances, this is a 1v1. I mean, she has a lucky find to help her out, but what would he not ambush with? Hmm. Well, if it's either of those, I would assume aristocratic. Like as simply a backup vamp. Uh, Another thing, possibly something like a mob that hits multiple people. Uh, and he's playing to try to hit more than one hunter. Yeah, yeah. It's just gonna be who plays the combat better in this case. I mean, yeah, it's not like those early. It's not like that those week 1v1s where, well, you know what happens then, and almost always the hunter gets massacred or just takes a heap of damage. Okay. Oh, choosing. Ouch. Yeah, that's definitely an ouch. Yeah, because where would he precisely? Yeah, missed, and then I missed. Unless she has a crucifix, she can't stop that. Uh, Yeah, that is perfectly fine. Okay, mesmerize again. Dodge. Okay. And, okay, so that means that Mina will almost certainly play some sort of anti-fang measure. Uh, yes, but if you're in Mina's position, what are you going to do? You're mesmerized. I mean, unless you have a great strength on someone, uh, then really, can you help it? Rifle. I mean, honestly, that makes a certain amount of sense because after Fang's the next worst thing would have been a claws. To deal 4 more damage. Hmm. If I were Drac, I would expect the next thing to be a dodge, and possibly do a plotting, or if not a dodge, just simply some sort of anti-fang measure, because I I so I would in Drac's place I would likely do a plotting next if I had it. I Fangs dodge. Excellent. Just trying to get the kill. Yeah, claws or fangs, it doesn't matter which. If he lands a hit, then. And. Oh, ouch! Okay, yeah. Okay. Yep. And nice chat at her between the players. DonOJack acknowledges that was quite a good play on Osey's part. Yeah, they. Yeah, if you're going to use a heavenly host on a 1v1, you're best off doing it relatively early. Most of the time, like in a serious one, like not just a simple chance encounter. Yeah. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. And I definitely would have played the knife instead of the heavenly host. Less risk. That neutralizes one of the two potential I am dead situations. Uh. So. Yes. Yeah. In fact, that's gonna give Seward a chance to try to go in for some revenge. Although, since he is nothing but a garlic and presumably a heavenly host, I mean, I wouldn't be all that confident about doing so. Plus, there's other stuff to worry about.
So for dinner we were going to the parish soup night. Are you coming? We're leaving in 15 minutes. Alright, then you're gonna have to find something on your own to eat.
Uh, yeah. So, I mean, it's a good thing that he did manage to clear the vampire here in Rome, because that is where that otherwise Mia wouldn't be able to leave the hospital safely without giving Dracula possibly all the remaining points he needs. So that's definitely very fortunate for them. Yeah, now if he had moved to Toulouse instead of Barcelona, that could have been going to Genoa to cut that off. So, yes. Yeah. 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 Seward angrily replies to that thought. I'm not a vampire. Why would I be reckless? In that case, it would appear that. Yeah. Yeah, he's sending Van Helsing. He's sending Van Helsing to, uh, like either cut off northern Germany in case he chooses to, like immediately, like come ashore. Like if Dracula, for instance, were to choose to feed here, and then go to Adriatic, then Wolfhorn would be ready. Yet for him to throw the obscurity for wolfing ashore to like up to Munich. I mean that would be quite possibly rather daring, depending on how the hunters are positioned then. But we know that there's one bouncing around. Me was showing one for a while. I, I mean, that'd be my guess. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if that were the case. Uh, yeah, we're not even in week 3 yet, so far be it for us to be saying that it's over, despite the fact that Dracula's made excellent progress. Yeah, they're commenting. He's commenting on his latest learned lesson. Oh yeah. That's what the. It's a new blood tournament. That's apart from a slight bit of a bit of distance. Uh, he could be ferrying the Adriatic now instead, but yeah. Yes. Yeah. Oh, he's not recognizing. DonOJack is a bit confused with how hospital works. Uh, hmm. Shall I ask if he moved out of the hospital? Because I didn't catch whether Mina moved out of the hospital. Okay. Okay. In which case, I suppose I'll tell them. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, for those who may not know, while you're in the hospital, well, you can supply at night without drawing events, and therefore not risk getting drac events. And that's all you can do. That's yeah, yeah, yeah. There are no so as a result, of course, no risk of giving Drac unearthly swiftness, Emmanuel Hiroshima, or whatever other crazy thing. Uh, okay. I alright. Okay. Okay. Yeah, it's interesting how there's been no layering. Huh. Oh. Huh. Yeah. True. Yeah. So. Okay, I'm not sure why Ladong didn't go to Genoa. I. Yes. And yet, why wouldn't you send him to Bari and have Ladong mop up with Genoa and Florence? Okay. That's not the way I would go about it, but very well. Yeah. Let me see. Genoa was something of a risky play, so I actually wouldn't be all that surprised if that were a fog. In truth, it's in fact perhaps that's what he's like gambling. Although, mind you, it's something of a gamble to leave two people in the same spot when there's a potential fog about to mature. Yeah, and I suppose the fog would fade fast enough that Mia could still deal with Bari, Mina or Seward, either one, it doesn't matter. To to be precise, to any spot in that region. Uh, yes. For instance, he couldn't fog Van Helsing in this case. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's... Okay. Yeah. Yeah, it's very rare to see a fog mature, as Draculas tend to reserve that as a something of an emergency measure, or for when the hunters are on it, and that almost always gets ambushed. People almost always ambush with that, or or so it almost always gets triggered. It almost never matures to be short. Uh, yeah. Yeah, it's in fact I don't think in all the tournaments I've watched I've had one mature. I've seen one mature. For that matter, for all the entire time I've been with the community, which is getting close. So Saboteur. Okay, so that's not that bad. Uh, yeah. So now presumably he'll send Seward to Florence. To address that threat. Unless, well, that's the thing. There's road and rail, so he can't block both. So, no, he's making it harder. Honestly, I think that's somewhat wasted. Uh, either that, quite poss. Yeah, I think that could easily be a misclick. Roadblock. Uh, yes, I think that what he intended to do is block Munich to Zagreb, and simply due to zoomed out, which actually that wouldn't be all that bad. Uh, at least that would actually be decent for Dracula, as I would slow them down a little, but same. Yeah. So, interesting choice. Unless he has a second excellent weather, I can't say I particularly like that. Or going to Munich. We know that if there is that, then, well, I suppose we don't. Well, actually, I suppose Goldom does have that, doesn't he? Unless, yeah. So actually, Goldom is the only one who has any events, right? I. Yeah. So, whoa, goodness. Yeah. Yes. This is very dangerous. Uh. Yeah. So it'll definitely be difficult for the vampire to gain two fang attacks. That will be very, very tricky to pull off. I mean, it's not impossible, but I like for instance, if he got a plotting off, that's definitely a weakness of garlic. Okay, chose to punch. I can understand that mentality. Very true. Yeah, but yeah, either that or simply get bitten yet again. Okay, very nice, garlic. Good work. Yes, but on the other hand, Seward also supplied at Rome, so he could have a stake. And he dodged it. Well done. So, not yet, at least. Yeah, so it's not game over in this particular fight. That much is certain. Hmm. Mesmerize? No. Yes. However, there is still a dodge. It, what I would have done there in the vampire's place is I would have done plotting that round, because garlic or was the obvious thing to do, and therefore you would have. I mean, now the garlic would be used up, and you would have a plotting reserve. Uh, True. Yeah, I could, would, should. I, you never know. Oh well, possible. Answer is yes. Yep. This is gonna be a good one for my first recording ever, for that matter. As long as the audio and such is decent, then even decent, I'll consider it a success for my first time. Okay. uh, yeah. Okay, so that will take him to Prague. Yeah, that'll take him to, or either or Munich. I mean, same difference in this case. He, he would actually uh from Paris or no Lahore. Yeah, he could actually be in, I think he could actually be in Sarajevo. It was from Lahore, three he moves, one of them being one. Okay, so yeah, he could be at Zagreb now. Uh, so unfortunate routing choice, but oh well. At the time, he didn't know whether or Dracula had gone to North Germany, so I can definitely see why. Oh, yeah, yeah. That's that's a respectable choice. Yeah, now that we think about it. So now we know that he went to Valona, and but here's an interesting question: Does he? Do they have a fully charged CG? Well, they can't have a full charged CG now. Now that Nina sadly got bitten with hers. Uh, so and they could restrict him and force him to go down to Athens, or simply make him feed. Uh, For yeah, so instead you would force him to Sarajevo. So in that case, you would force him to Sarajevo. That would. Yeah, that's definitely interesting. Uh, quite possibly putting the permanent one in Sofia if you had it. Uh, but yeah, it's. I mean, there's still CG that could definitely at least mess things up for Dracula. I mean, there's we haven't seen either. Yeah, we haven't seen either of those yet. So, I mean, yeah, yeah. One thing that is something of a shame is that since I mentioned earlier that Sister Agatha went by in the early game, it's a shame that they didn't have that as an ally. I can't. Yeah, especially at Bari because that would discourage the Fangs that took out the Heavenly Host. I well, there's that charged carriage. That'll yeah, that'll take him as far as Belgrade. That's definitely very nice. I mean, yes, but let me see. Drac has 9, so yeah, he could risk another sea voyage. I mean, in fact, oh, interesting. Well, that's honestly, I think that may be a little bit because the thing is, what Drac could do is uh, he could actually go to sea and then just cruise around at sea forever until uh, risking a CG, he blocking him until it's time for him to simply land for the win. At this point, if he went to Salonika or Athens, he could do that. Okay, again, in this case, I would have gone to Zagreb so that you could possibly jump him at Sofia if he went to Salonika first. Yeah, so yeah. Okay, yeah. Yeah. Yes. Hmm. If I had to guess as to what Dracula's going to do, I mean, if he does see that sea voyage as a thing, my guess is that he'll feed right now because they won't be sufficiently close to him to really pose a huge threat because I mean he could easily be sitting on a fog and then hunters and he sees that the hunters don't have all that many events and therefore the risk of forewarned is minimal. Yeah. Yes, which uh, which for those who don't know, I was I going to wait. What was I going to cover? How it just goes as soon as in any event. It what were forewarned. What forewarned is? I mean, its name is kind of self-explanatory. If you're ambushed when you by an encounter, you can discard forewarned in order to just make it as if it's not there, and discard it. Uh, but only if you're ambushed by it. If you search it, and of course it has to be something that's not a vampire. Uh, but wolves, spy, uh, the Yeah, which honestly, I would guess. Come to think of it, I think that's what Bari is. That actually is a logical place to put it. Nope. Yep, aristocratic. So, yep, the hunt is still on. It'll be close. It'll be tight. And if he does go for just a long cruise around, he'll take quite a bit of damage, naturally. Uh, or rather, aquatically. Yep. Let me see. I Yeah, Ionian would be 7, 6 Mediterranean, 5 Mediterranean, South Atlantic 5, or no, no 4, 3 at North Atlantic, but at that point, and then he lands in Ireland. Yeah, so that there's no Athens there. He possibly went through Salonika or went to Sophia and is now in Salonika. So yeah, that's the thing with that particular like southeast corner. There you can do them in practically any order. There's with one or two exceptions. Yeah, unless Seward has a sense of emergency. But yeah, Seward has one event, and we haven't seen any sense of emergencies yet. Nor I mean, it is noteworthy that there wasn't any dawn prompt, so there are no RVs. And Dracula quite possibly knows this as well. And it's uh, that yeah. I'm not sure why he thought to do that. Yeah, likewise. Yeah, likewise. I I completely agree there. Yeah, I think if I had to judge who's, I mean, due to how they're playing, okay, I'm not sure why you spent the train tickets when you can simply go by road. Uh, Imperial horses, yeah, I suppose that makes a certain amount of sense. Yeah, yeah. If you don't know the map well enough, then yeah, either that or a kill. Yeah. Oh, oh dear. So the question is, will Mina actually supply because, or at the very least, move to supply? No, she's heading there. I this is starting to look like a bit of overcommitment. I Normally I would have someone stay back a little bit and uh just fetch more events. Uh, and I mean, and really two of those have been drawn already. Or is it three? I think it's three. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, yeah. Yeah, yeah. So, that's why I was confused a bit and thought there were three for a moment. But, yeah. Hmm. I. Yeah, I think that Van Helsing's routing could definitely have been better so far. Uh, as to ways to improve, but yes. Okay. What has he got in store for them? Yeah, if that the thing is that Seward has been moving by rail, seemingly, so therefore, in it, I know you know that there is one fast horse out of commission. You know where the two that are active are, so therefore, I think going to Munich might actually not be a bad idea. Because then you're at least out of reach of Van Helsing. With or right, yeah, yeah. Yeah, it's definitely tough. What will he go by rail or will he go by? I think that Vienna would actually give him better chances of remaining undetected, at least for this turn, because Seward might do it. Might be using a 2 yellow to go to Budapest. It Yeah, that actually, if he was in Zagreb, was likely the thing to do. Okay, not in Varna either, but I'm not surprised by that. In fact, that was almost impossible. It was possible, barely, if he had gone Salonika before Sofia. Yeah. Now, oh dear, this is not looking good. Yeah. But since he's going over land, there's always the chance that I mean, although since we know that there is no renewed vigors, uh, it's going to be tough to catch, especially still with 9 HP. Uh, yeah, and with the wolf form, yes. Yeah, I think this is looking very good for Drac. Uh, it'll be tough for the hunters to come back at this point. I mean, yeah. If he has indeed gone to Munich now, I would expect that he's going to wolf form next. So as to. Well, I suppose not necessarily, and yet, at the same time, you might want to just play it a little bit safe. Just. I mean. Yeah, there's still. I think there's still at least one of those left. Yeah, stakes are out, so. And perhaps that's why he chose to make that Mystic Research supply now. Yep, as expected. So, yeah, that screams that he went up to Munich. and got away with it. Yeah. Yep. Let's. It's possible, yes. So therefore, what Goldong should do is just check Sophia. We need to get more information. Either that or fast horse. Well, yep. Yeah, his horse economy is definitely not the best. Okay, so he went there directly from Valona, so. Alright. So that means that he's a little bit closer than we thought. But. Yep, a knife. Revealing a knife. Interesting. Oh, yeah. Ideally Zagreb and then Mina. I suppose Mina still hasn't cleared this spot. So it's yeah. This is gonna be yep. He so, whoa. Yeah, so honestly, that's for the best. I, but here's the funny thing. Wouldn't it be very weird if he chose to Wolfhorn to Klausenberg? So as to try to do something like that, hide, that the last hide, and then for his final move into the castle? Or like just before his final move, go into the castle. I mean, that would be extremely risky, but ambitious. But ambitious but risky is a very fun way to play. So even if you lost as a result, well. uh, uh, it's entirely possible. Yeah. Yeah. So let's see the timeline. If he did go to Klausenberg, the way he would still get the HP from Castle Dracula without making it like his next move. Oh. Oh. Well, we kind of knew that already. But yeah, had we had that a bit sooner, then that would have been, then that definitely would have been nice. Yeah, that would have. Yeah. Okay. Makes sense. Doing that. So yeah, good bats shove, but that indicates that he did not do the ambitious play and do Klausenberg. Yeah. Yeah, it was just a fun thought more than anything else. Yeah, wolf forms are definitely can definitely be confusing. As and you can definitely be very tricky with them. I mean, considering the situation, I think that I would feel perfectly safe doing a feed now, before the fourth week top clock begins. But yeah, making more distance also makes sense. I mean that horse economy may well be completely ruined now, but let's let's hope for the hunter's sake. Let's hope not. Good gracious. Yeah. Man, it's sometimes painful watching these games between the newer guys. I oh well that's nice. I just seeing how they struggle with things that uh because of making mistakes I that the among the more experienced players you like never see. Like, yeah, let me put it this way. It's more like pain of like feeling sympathy for them as a result of it of like knowing that at higher levels something like leaving that corridor open I would not have happened, for instance, at a higher level. Most of the time. Oh, nicely done. Yeah, well fought. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's definitely. Oh, ouch. Yeah, yeah. At this point, it's just desperate. He has to because even without a renewed vigor, he can still presumably only get onto him with a sense of emergency. Now, now that he's moved. Yeah, you have to at least try. I yeah, I actually had one of my games in this tournament. I I believe against Brooke Molly when I was hunters against him. I Wakat or it was possibly someone else, but Wakajic mentioned to me he I or no, it was actually just a friendly game between me and Wakajic where I just couldn't find the third white one, but he said good work trying you good work using them nonetheless, and I replied it was the least of the evils I had in as options. Yeah, sometimes you just have no choice but to try. I yeah. Early was yeah, that one could have been like he could have waited a bit longer before before it was really necessary, but but oh well. What can you're 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 telling me in my I in my most recent like just casual game against Wakajic, I didn't get mine until Thursday week 3. Goodness gracious. It's just so it's just so frustrating at times. It can just be so frustrating. Yeah, so if I were Drac, after I would have his next move be a feed because he's just staying pretty at this point. I would say. I know it takes something massive to swing this back around. I don't know how. I yeah. I mean, yeah. I mean, yeah. Goldong just spent another heavenly host on that thing, on the new vampire. I mean, necessary to be sure. Uh, or actually, that wasn't necessary to deal with. Oh, Stuart actually checked it. I respect that. Well move. Well done. Yeah, he's checking alternative exits other than simply. Yeah, so I mean, my guess would be Zurich. I mean, most logical spot. Yeah. Yeah, which is precisely why I would say he would do it now. I mean, mind you, that would mean that would actually give Mina enough time. Mina would actually have enough space to get onto him with sense of emergency if it was Toulouse. So, yeah. Yeah, yeah, so. Yeah, sadly, this one. Now that we've eliminated the possibility. Yeah, now that we've ruled out the possibility of him staying in the East, unless he. Was anyone ever at Belgrade? Uh, because if so, there's still that. I mean, that would be just ridiculous, but well, yeah, 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 yes. Well, at least we get to. Yep. At least he gets that last bit of satisfaction. Just... yeah. Yeah, unless he plans to feed now. Just... And missed that he could have done it yesterday. Just for the extra points. I mean, either way, they haven't been supplying, so he knows there's still no renewed vigor. So therefore, he could just sit... He actually could feed and still just sit pretty. I mean, that'd be a little bit mean, to be sure, but... Well, perhaps that's precisely why he didn't punch. I mean, you don't want to get too predictable and all. I try to mix it up. I try to mix it up from time to time during the game. Claws. Okay, now a punch. And it's a shame that the result of this doesn't matter one bit as to the end game. It's a bit sad that, and we know Goldami is nothing but a knife. I mean, a knife is still plenty fierce, but but now he's mesmerized, so yeah. He's gonna get, at this point, at most 2 uses out of it. And that's if neither of them are cancelled. Yeah, that's one tip that's been mentioned in quite a few videos. There are a lot, so if you don't know that yet, don't feel bad about it, because there are plenty who have that to learn. So yeah. I mean, maybe not. He might just accept it because of just the circumstances. Yeah. Ideally, you would want to cancel an escape or a dodge. I mean, in that case, it simply means that he healed only 1 instead of 2, and you know he doesn't have a heavenly host, so why bother? Yeah. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. There are some players, some of our new players have a natural that uncanny knack of getting into their opponent's heads, such as 5-hit, for example, with his better hunter play. We saw quite a bit of that, and Snuff actually commented on that. And now he's gonna cancel just for the fun of it. No, okay. Well, yeah. Yeah. It, I mean, yeah. In my case, I tend to like think along the lines of, what is the obvious thing to, what will he expect me to do? What what will he do as a result? What can I do to counter that? Basically, it can definitely turn into a massive match of rock paper scissors, uh, like in extreme cases, but uh, but more, I'd say, like people with a knack like 5 hits, more often than not, will get the better of the combat side of things. Uh, but then there's the issue of actually getting to them. To just for funsies, playing wax cylinders again. Yeah, because DonOJack obviously knows that he's lost. Uh, so might as well just have as much fun with the ending as possible. Now, wouldn't it be mean if that was a renewed vigor he just picked up, or a CG? Uh, okay, now I'll play immediately card. We'll make it. Yeah, just fun to think about what that might be. Yeah, in which case you would use that to be able to slip in a feed as well. Alright. Do both. Yeah. So, yeah. It it was close. It was at least semi close in the sense that DonOJack was on his heels practically the entire time. Uh, so like, there wasn't any like stupid matures that could have easily been prevented, as there were earlier in the first stage. Uh, so yeah, that my it's it's that the future is definitely looking scary for the quote unquote seasoned players like myself of the tournament. I they're definitely going to start catching up to us in skill. It's oh yeah. Yeah. Yes. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Then thank you everyone, and have a good evening / night depending on where you are. Signing off.